Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Digital Hustle. I'm your host Mike, and I'm here with my co-host Joe. And today we're going to talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
So what do we want to jump into today, man?
Yeah, so I think it's good. This is our first episode, like being in person.
Yeah.
So we kind of can bounce off ideas. So I think more so just talking about the kind of things we're up to, how that's progressing, the kind of things we're running into. So if we want to start off like projects you're working on.
Yeah, I have a couple passion projects. People always ask like, what am I up to and things like that. And there's just a lot of different things. Same like you, we have our hands in a lot of different pots because it's one of those things where you collaborate with a lot of different people and you have opportunities to do different projects. And, a lot of them are these entrepreneurial projects, trying to create businesses and trying to get different projects going. So it's pretty exciting. I personally have a passion project. I'll do my little plug, Muay Thai Masters store. We're going to sell Muay Thai gear online. On a website, on Instagram, and we're creating new different things. But right now, it's hand wraps, and so we're really excited about it. And we built the website, and there's just a lot of different aspects to it. Like, how are you going to run the website? What pages are you going to do? You got to find inspiration from other places, but also how you're going to market, or how you're going to do the photos. You got to actually find the product. There's a lot of different things that come into it. But
So as far as the product, how did you decide on the hand wraps?
so I was looking for something that was like disposable, not disposable, but you're always going to need it, right? So not something that you just buy once, like a TV or something like that, and you have it for years. You know what I mean? I wanted something that you're going to constantly need, so that you always have new buyers coming in. It's like a barber shop, right? Everybody's going to need a haircut. People need haircuts, so they go to the barber, and there's always going to be people needing haircuts. So it's kind of that mindset. It didn't initially start with creating my own brand, but I worked with a partner, and we decided initially we were going to do an online web store that just sold different name brand materials and different, like Venom or Title Boxing, or all those different brands that you can Everlast, all those different brands that you can buy. But we decided to create our own, and just try to get our own name in the market and start creating our own materials. So we just did the research, and we started looking online and finding different places to source the material. And it's all exciting. You learn a lot. The things that you don't know, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, kind of thing. And it is pretty cool to find all the different things that you didn't know that are going to come up in a business.
Would you say that it's a capital intensive idea? So it's like, does it require a lot of money up front, or is it more just, I guess under $1,000 you could start and do everything?
Yeah, so for us, no, there's not that many upfront costs. The product is going to be the biggest cost, right? Finding it, sourcing it, where are you going to get it from, how, shipping, handling, depending if you're getting it overseas or in the States, there's different taxes and things like that. So, you got to figure all that stuff out. But for us, I mean, there wasn't that many expenses outside of that. So I would definitely say under $1,000. It's probably right around that $1,000, honestly. But you can definitely do it. You just got to find a project. I mean, a product, yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I did it because I'm passionate about Muay Thai, and I really want to be involved in that world in different ways than just going to the gym, working out, and fighting and stuff like that. So that's another avenue that I can be involved and try to create a different community, because that's part of it too, is like trying to get all these gyms together and work out partnership deals and just get people. If you need to find a gym, you can go to our website and find one that's close to you. Eventually we'll get there. We're not quite there. We got a lot of reaching out to do, and it's going to take time. And it's one partnership at a time, one conversation, one meeting at a time. But yeah, so a lot of people don't do it that way. A lot of people find a product that's just the numbers based. And that's how they do it. Something boring like, a laundry detergent or something like that. And they just sell it and they sell it and they sell it, which it's probably a great way to do it. Right. But I wanted to have the passion to do it because it's not my full time thing. So, just working on that and a couple other projects. But, let's jump into one of yours, because I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking.
No, good. So lately, the biggest thing I'm working on now is like managing a private fund. So like a debt fund, private credit. So just like banks.
Mm.
Basically, like banks go around, they lend money. You can do that with a group of people. You can pool people money together and then essentially be a bank.
Gotcha.
Yes. So a lot of it is investing. So like private market, like real estate, buying notes on people, like doing private loans or auto loans, that type of stuff.
So how do you go about networking and finding these people to
Yeah.
like get involved?
So a lot of banks, like if you kind of just go into banks and tell them like, hey, I'm interested in buying notes, I manage a fund and stuff.
Mhm.
Even banks will sell you notes because some things they'll do is like, say they let you buy a house for 200,000 and they give you the 200,000. They don't might not want to wait 30 years for you to pay back,
Yeah.
280. So what they'll do is they'll come up to an investor or somebody like me and they'll say, example, I'll sell you this note or the next 30 payments or the next, 20 payments for $60,000.
Mhm.
The bank knows that they'll take a discount because they can do a lot of stuff with that $60,000.
Yeah, like
compared
back out.
and
Yeah,
then they
exactly.
come in and let them back out.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like it's always those middle ground of investors. So you can go to banks working with it or just even other private people. It's like
Yeah.
the private space is so huge, what I've learned.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't really know much about that. I have seen the different things like, grouping. There was an app a long time ago that I had heard of that it was like very similar to group little friends together.
Yeah,
Like, so
yeah.
I think it was focused on like vacationing with your friends. Like
Okay.
everybody, you get a group of 10 friends and every month you put $10 in and then you have a set date and
You
that,
go from
you
there.
just
Okay, I like
do
that,
that. So it's very similar, just
Yeah.
a much smaller level
Yeah.
than what you guys are dealing with or what you're dealing with. But that's really cool, man. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So what else do you got going on?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing now is like putting that together. There's a lot of legal stuff you got to go through. Like I had to go get certifications.
Yeah. A lot of training and
Yes.
stuff like
A lot
that.
of
Like,
training.
pretty much, if you want to do anything, really, you have to get training.
You have to go through the
certifications.
SEC, do a bunch of that type of stuff. So I've been working through that, and like I think also on that is just finding deals. Because one thing I find is that if you have a good deal, the money will come. So like somebody I was watching a video and he explained it. He was like, if I told you that on next Friday you got somebody that'll buy a Lamborghini from you for 500,000, and somebody selling it on Monday for 100,000. How hard would it be for you to go out and get that?
You're gonna find that. You're gonna go out and find that.
Because you're gonna tell everybody it's a guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's only 5 days, and then so it's like having that mindset on every deal.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, and people just kind of go into it. But the thing is, you want to find in those deals that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fluff.
Yeah. Well, I know we were talking before about like flipping houses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were doing that and you're realizing like, there's a lot of effort that, they don't show you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until
Yes.
you get involved and until you start
Yeah.
doing that, you
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a process.
Yeah, especially with timelines and stuff. So I still love the construction. I think I just want to switch sides. So one thing I've learned is while we were sitting there doing the construction and it's getting delayed, we're paying money to a hard money lender.
Yeah.
So realistically, the lender is making all the money.
Mhm.
Like,
Interest,
yeah,
probably
of the
interest,
interest,
yeah.
of the interest payments. So like they're making all the money, and I'm over here busting my ass trying to like get this project done on time, and never gets done on time.
And same with the banks. It's like, it's really like, yeah, you were saying there's like that middleman. It's like,
Yeah.
you're just taking a small percentage of their interest rate, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all. And
Yes.
they're fine with that because
Yes.
they're going to get somebody else
Yes.
with that next
Yes.
interest rate. Yeah.
So basically, I want to look more like you two have been passionate about something. I think I'm very passionate about like helping people, like
Yeah.
and I think going into this financial space is just another way that I can kind of help people. I like outside of the stuff, like I always tell you about balancing portfolio. Everybody knows about stocks, but not many people know about art and that kind of stuff.
And how to maneuver that kind of
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, but you got to find like mentors or just do the research.
Yes.
And nowadays with the internet and YouTube and all these different resources online, I mean, they're out there. You
Yeah.
just got to do the research.
Mhm.
But it's cool when you dig into something where it ended up taking you.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
doing the houses thing, you might not know that you're gonna end up over there doing that as well. So it's like just another avenue. But even different things like you were saying, like people flip all kinds of stuff, cards and
Yes.
freaking
Collectibles.
boats, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I see a lot of stuff on like, Instagram about
Yeah.
cars. But it's crazy, all the
Yeah.
different things that you can do. So
So yeah, so I'm getting into that, so spinning that up. So I'm raising money for that now. Still, we're doing an agency.
Yeah. with Digital Hustle.
Yes, doing digital hustle.
The podcast, and we're doing higher level branding.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's a good thing too, to talk about how we kind of split it across for like even like higher level branding, where it's like we came in with a mission on attacking this area, but then we saw a whole nother hole, and we're like, hey, let's attack this agency hole over here. And it kind of, and I feel like that's the thing of entrepreneurship. It's like always finding those little holes or the problems and being agile enough to like go to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to be agile. We talk about adaptability a lot in our shows, and it's because so many times you're in one place and then you're in the next place and then you're in the next place. And a lot of times, you don't have the time to dedicate to, those other 3 projects that you have going on. And so that, and you're only one person. And even if you have a team, it's like everything always kind of will come back to you. You know what I mean? And that's just one of those things where that's what it takes. That's part of it, being in charge and making this stuff happen. And that's why I like collaborating so much with people, is because you don't know what's going to happen. Your interests are so different from my other business partners' interests. You know what I mean? And so it's just a whole nother realm that can be completely different projects, and you just start learning more and more and sharing what you know with other people. But I like what you said about helping people, because it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't know, you don't know, and it's really hard to find out. And then a lot of people don't want to share that information because it took them so long. Nobody just gave it to them, so they don't want to share it. And it's hard, so they keep it tight to the chest, and it's hard to not blame them. You know what I mean? Like, you think you might want to do the same thing, but it's actually better to share with people and let everybody try to build and everybody grow. Because building those around you makes you feel better. I mean, just be honest. Like, I love helping everybody grow, because I want to grow too. And I know if we're all growing together, then we're going to be able to do whatever we want.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing of me is like legacy. I'm trying really hard to like leave a legacy when I'm done. And I think the biggest way of how you leave that is influence. Like having enough people that you kind of influence that it kind of carries on.
And be involved in these different projects, and a lot of them are going to end up being like charity and like sponsorships and things like that, like starting to get involved in those different things. And that's pretty cool too. It's little simple things, and it might sound silly, but like a golf tournament, we're working in my day job, we're working with another company, not working with, but sponsoring, something that used to be a customer of ours. And now we just, sponsoring an event for them and things like that. So, that's what I was talking about. It's like they're doing a little golf charity event. You know what I mean? And that'll rake in the dough, and it also helps, all the kids in need, and it helps the organization, and it helps everybody network as business. There's a lot of different good angles from that. So, be on the lookout for those kind of things. Get more involved in those kind of things, because it matters and it helps people, and it's just a great feeling to be able to do those kind of things and be involved in those kind of things, and then being able to throw your own. That's really cool. And I can't wait to be able to do that. Because, like we were talking about the community building stuff, it's like for the Muay Thai stuff, we're talking about getting in gyms, getting in all these different programs, and, being able to like, we do want to have and promote our own event, and those are big aspirations, and those are down the line, but those are things we're already talking about. And I think it's important to do that and have bigger goals. Imagine us sponsoring our own event, like fight event, and for whatever charity, whatever cause we decide, as long as it is one, what I mean? And that's really good. So.
And I think that's too is nonprofit. That's definitely something I want to get into, like long term, doing stuff with nonprofits, raising money towards like what I like in the housing thing is real estate is so broad. It's like the mortgage spaces, but it's also like the affordable housing stuff I see a lot of. So I think if I went into the nonprofit, it would be like affordable housing, where you can kind of get money from the state to revamp like houses that's just been sitting vacant, and then you can turn to affordable housing and stuff. So
there's a lot of different ways to do it,
And I think that's the thing too, is that the hard part of being an entrepreneur too is also not stretching yourself too thin, because I know that's something that we go through a lot of. Like, we'll start up something and then we on another project, and then we're like on another project. So like finding a way to like taper it down, but also still being not putting yourself in a box. And that's something that I'm still trying to learn.
I get it. The burnout comes quick, and then it's like I was saying earlier, you can't dedicate as much time to certain projects that might need that time. So you have to find a balance, there's no number on it, right?
Yeah.
There's no maximum number of projects, right? It's as much as you can handle, but handle well, handle with quality, and just do those things to your fullest. And if you can't do a project up to your standards or up to your partner standards or whoever customer standards, don't take the project. Just be honest.
Yeah.
My plate is full. I want to do it. I really can't.
Yeah.
Right. But you can find ways. We were talking about, potentially jumping back into hiring, and getting somebody to help us out. And it's one of those things where that's a big undertaking, you know what I mean? And it really just depends on how big do you want to grow? There's risks involved in all of the projects that we talked about.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of different routes and different things that you can do. So you have to really pick and choose.
Yeah. And then the crazy thing is, like, I was talking to my little cousin 2 days ago, and he was like, you always say you want to like be an entrepreneur and run around and stuff, but you seem like you like way more busier now than if you had a job. And I'm like, I am, but the difference is that I'm choosing what to do with my time.
Yeah.
Like, though I'm busy, I'm just doing the stuff that I enjoy doing.
Exactly. Versus being forced that somebody else is doing what they want to. Yeah.
But it's also the part of doing the things that other people don't want to do too. Because that's one thing I find about entrepreneurs: the people who get ahead, you're doing the stuff that everybody else don't want to do, like waking up super early, or like even people that go to the gym and make gains. It's like, you're that big because you're doing the stuff that everybody else don't want to do. Like
I saw some video on Instagram a while ago, and it was about some dude that like he just like started working out and getting bigger, and then they gave him a raise.
Yeah.
Like literally, like that was just the thing, and it's just like they could see the hard work. It didn't have any, it wasn't necessarily he was doing a way better job at work. But he was working hard, you can tell, and that mattered to them, and that was cool. It's one of those things. It doesn't have to be like, oh, because he's getting so fit, but it's because he's working hard. Whatever it was, whether it be working out or whether it be doing something else.
And I feel like the working hard part of come when you find something you're passionate about. Because I always tell people, like, you don't want to just be working hard just to work hard, because that was one thing the trap I got into and with entrepreneurs, like the hustle culture of like, you got to be hustling 24/7 all the time.
You never take a vacation. No,
Yes.
no. But we're lucky enough to be able to have these options. The people that a lot of the people that we're talking about that are like that are older people.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to break away from those times because, like we were saying, nobody just gave it to them, right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't have those options. They had to stay at that job or whatever because of whatever situation. We just have more options now, and it's pretty cool that we get to be able to do that. But I 100% agree. Don't stay somewhere that you hate.
Yeah.
I get having to grind something out for a while. It is what it is. You got to do it. But don't stay there. That when it starts really making you miserable, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
There's other jobs
when I wake up and just hate going there.
Yeah, it's not worth it. As a person, it wears you down, and I do have a respect for some of those older people that like are like that, and I know quite a few businessmen that no vacations, like, and when they do, like, it's still business all the time, and it's just like I need separation at a certain point. I still have my own personal life and my other work lives, my other project lives. You know what I mean? There's so many things to do, and you can't always be on 24/7 for like those reasons. So it's just
So I think the key is working more efficiently versus working harder, because it's like that's what I learned too, is like spending sometimes what I've accomplished, what I can do in 3 hours if I just sit and focus on it and I know what I'm gonna do before I go into it. I probably spent, that would have been normally an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
And I just gotta knock it out, and I just kind of have free time. So
yeah, and I noticed some of that, like taking longer to do certain tasks that could take me quicker if I just had focused more. And it's something simple, like I just have my TV on, and sometimes I could just tune it out. I'm working and it's fine, and I like it. Other times I just look it up, and then I realize, 20 minutes later I haven't done anything, and I'm just my screen hasn't moved, and I'm just watching TV, and sometimes you gotta turn it off, or I just ended up putting music on or whatever, and just working through it. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of blocking out distractions. Like in my house, I got a room, there's nothing in there but a couch and my computer, and that's all I do, sitting there, because it's so easy to get thrown off. And it's like that little 15-minute you thrown off, you kind of was already in a flow or something, and it kind of just messed all that up.
Exactly. Yep. And it's hard to stay focused sometimes because, there's so many things that you're like, for me, there's so many things. I'm like, sometimes I just need to write them down and,
Yeah.
get my checklist, my to-do list and just sit there. But sometimes it's like you're plucking them out of the air so fast.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. But it's just because you have so much to do. And it's
Yeah.
like, you gotta focus harder. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is,
And-
find the
And
ways to,
prioritize too.
and
Find-
rest
yeah.
too. Like you have to find rest or else you
Yeah.
can't. It's hard to do all the things at the same time, but you have to. You have to
Yeah.
find a way. But it's exciting.
Yes.
I love it. Taking on these new projects and things like that are always super fun. They're very hard work. I just threw a website together as another project. I just opened my own personal company and I did a project for somebody and that takes time. You know what I mean? And there's so many different things. So
Yeah.
it's just really
Yeah.
fun, man. I really enjoy doing like trying to branch out. This like they say, after you're successful, like you're gonna look back and, like that was the fun time. Like I can
Yeah.
feel it. I can feel
Yeah.
it. This is exciting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether it gets anywhere or not, I'm passionate and I feel like I can surround myself with the right people, like-minded people that work hard, that think like not the same. You don't want people that think exactly
Yeah.
the same, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you need that opposite and that comparison.
Different point of
Right?
views.
Exactly. And people that challenge you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you just surround yourself with good people and just keep your head on straight and try to figure it out.
Yeah. So if we wrap up now, we each probably share one thing from the journey of this project that you kind of jumping in now that you share a tip or something that you would give people now. Because I know we talked about this before, but has it changed now that you kind of jumped into a project versus when we first started, we were just really on one project compared to like now it's kind of like.
So, so my tip would be, you have to put the work in, the after hours work, the work at home thing. A lot of people want to do their day job, go home and watch movies, eat dinner, relax and go to bed.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to go home, get yourself together, take a little rest, eat, and you got to work. Yeah, you're giving up, you're sacrificing, but you got to do it or you're not going to get ahead.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my advice.
And I think if I leave a tip, the biggest thing I've learned like in the last couple of weeks is investing in yourself. Like all the money you would take back, maybe it's buying courses or whatever it may be, just take it and like buy a certification. Try to educate yourself as much as you can before you go into something. Because knowledge is the one thing that kind of sets you apart from everybody else. It's like everybody can be coming in and selling the same bands as you.
Yeah.
But if you know something that they don't know, you're gonna get ahead of them every time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's a good episode. We can wrap it up. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you listening. Tune in next time.